Okay, I'm just doing the whole one-man show today. Just doing a live. I know yesterday, although I didn't know while I was doing the live, that I didn't have the microphone set up after making my change. I went from my GoPro to my other program, and I didn't change my microphone settings. So I had no audio yesterday. So I'm moving the hole today. I guess you can kind of see that. And then I'm going to mow the putting green. And I'm going to show a couple of views of my putting green mode. And maybe put some balls or something like that. I'm going to put my drone up in the air. I guess I should do that.
Home point refreshed.
So just something fun. So it's probably gonna be a little annoying with that drone just right above me. I can feel him hitting some rocks here. So my putting green is not like a total golf course putting green. I only have a very thin layer of sand and soil. So it's a lot harder to, I can feel I'm hitting a rock. I have a lot of rock in my soil below. It's one of those gradual things, slowly but surely. I thought it would be really easy because it's so wet, but I feel I'm hitting a rock. I can feel it. And this is not a Pro Action hole cutter either. I don't know if I'm going to get around that rock or not. I might have to dig it out. I can just feel it rubbing right on this rock. It's probably a huge rock. I don't think I'm going to get it down any further. I'm going to get a little shovel in my kneeling pad. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy when you go and try to do something and I mean, there's so many steps to what I'm doing normally on a normal basis. I need something to put the dirt in. So because of that, and I was doing a multicam yesterday as well. Let's see if I can find this rock. Yep, there it is right there. So this area where I live was basically underwater, you know, whatever thousands of years ago it was. Yeah, there's rock over here too. So there's a rock. It's two rocks. Here's the other rock I was hitting on right here. This is the major one though right here. This was right on the edge of where I was cutting. So I have to move the cup because with all the rain and the wet and the wind, the cup with the flag in it gets elongated, and the flag just starts blowing over basically. And plus I'm going to put my master's flag on. I have a flag to display it's the master's time of year. Still one more rock in here. So because this was all underwater, you know, whatever, thousands or millions or whatever years ago it was, there's just a lot of rock in our sand. And when I did this putting green, I wasn't doing it to be all pro action. I just want to get this so the cup will fit down in here. See how that is. Yeah, there we go. It's not steep enough. All right. Some other cups over on the other side here. Just got to get my cup puller. I guess I did not put it back. I was in here moving things around, and we had the power go out and stuff, so I don't know where I ended up putting that stupid thing. Probably would have been a lot smarter if I had to grab that before I started doing this. Oh, there it is right there. It's right in front of my nose. So I need to clean this because this is really dirty because it was so full of, it filled up with water a couple of times. And I need to put some dirt in there as well. So just gonna move over here to my water spigot. I'm gonna go grab a sponge real quick. I actually have another one of these cups. I could just put that in there. But I'm not gonna. All right, call that good. That's the only bad thing about me having a, I should probably put this in another spot. All right, hold on. too low. Thought it was just right. Oh, that's much better. All right, that will heal back in time. So here's this guy. I really feel like I should move it. So that's what happens when you do everything live. That's how it goes. The last time I moved the hole, it's kind of the same. That probably should line the hole cutter with some sort of, you know, oil, like cooking oil or something like that too. I'm trying to find my flag right now. I know where it is. I just got to get to it. So the dirt slides out, because like I said, you know, this is not a pro action golf green. It's just my hacked together little golf green that I do. And the soil basically 4 inches down is regular compact soil. And it's so tight in there. Let's see. Hole's way too loose. Yeah, I'll probably end up moving it next weekend. There's a Masters flag up in there. As you can see, no wind, so it's not blowing around. So here's a shot of my soil temps right now. Look at that, a balmy 70 degrees right now on that soil temp. Drone's landing. So it's had enough for today on that battery. Good thing I have some more batteries. Put this flag away. I'm going to change the drone battery out. And I'm just going to do a mow. I know I mowed yesterday, but I'm going to mow again today. So like I said yesterday, had some
Please connect the drone.
issues with the microphone, so there was no talking, no voice. I didn't do a hole change yesterday. Okay, so this guy's coming back on with the new battery.
Connected.
Okay, so I'm just going to wait for the satellites to connect so I can take off, because you got to let the battery, the satellites connect so you can get a green light on your home location. So when the battery dies, it's just going to land right where it took off from, basically. So I don't have to worry about it. And that's basically what I do with the drone. Just let it take off, let it hover. Okay, there it goes. Got the lawnmower all ready.
Home point refreshed.
And I'm just going to launch it. So the Kentucky bluegrass is looking really good right now. I'm going to launch this thing pretty, what is this, about 100 feet? So that pretty much covers my whole yard where I'm going to mow and stuff. It's only going to take, this is going to be a quick mow. Like I said, I just basically burn in those stripes a little better. Yesterday I mowed both ways, up and down, side to side on the Kentucky bluegrass, really trying to encourage growth. I'm actually going to probably add some more nitrogen because I'm really trying to encourage growth on that. Then I'm going to move over here and I'm going to mow my little small grass patch. So a lot of it, you know, the one thing that is the most important thing about coming back from winter is mowing. And I already know all the YouTube channels are talking about it. And it's no joke. Mowing is probably the most important thing you can do this time of year. I'm all about mowing and nitrogen. Because I want growth. I need the lawn to thicken up. Since this is Kentucky bluegrass, it thins out really good in the wintertime. And because it thins out so much in the wintertime, Kentucky bluegrass looks it looks pretty bad. Now, because we don't get such hard winters and it doesn't get so cold, it only looks bad for about 2 months out of the year. And one of my big things I'm dealing with right now and I'm talking about is my treatment that I did on my POA. I killed a POA, but I did a really hardcore application of ethylfumicate on it, and the Kentucky bluegrass took a hit. Because I have no patience, I can't wait for the Kentucky bluegrass to do its job and fill in. So I have added some seed, but the Kentucky bluegrass was already starting to fill in pretty well. in some of the areas, but I have other parts of my yard that I lose because of the shade in the yeah, I got some growth just in one day. I can already see that little spot that I missed because I tried to make this patch right here when I seeded this and I put this in. I tried to make it exactly 3 widths of the mower, and you can see I was pretty close. I was off by like 2 inches. And so I always get a little strip. I can't see the screen. Right in here that I miss. So I have to do 2 passes on it. Usually when I go back up, I will do 2 narrow strips on it. And then, or 2 cuts on it to cover it. But I really like the growth that I'm seeing right now, just in one day. I'm going to mow the putting green and see how it's doing with its growth from yesterday. Kind of what I do in the summertime is I'll mow on Saturday and Sunday, and then I mow again on Wednesday. And the Wednesday and Saturday mows are usually pretty long. You know, I'm cutting at 8 millimeters right now on this Kentucky bluegrass. And what I need to do after I mow is I need to run my rotary mower on the lowest setting, which is like 3/4 of an inch. And I basically come back and vacuum the yard. And that kind of helps with the buildup of the grass clippings, because there's a lot. And this is where you learn how good the grass clippings are for your lawn. Thank you. I was going to do a live this morning, but it being Easter and all that, I just didn't get a chance to do it. I had family come over, and there was supposed to be a whole bunch of people, but then it ended up just being my younger son and grandson that come over, you know, with our daughter-in-law. My other son, they got sick, and they didn't want to come over and bring it over for the baby. I mean, our grandson's like 2 years old, but so they didn't come over. And then our daughter-in-law's parents were going to come over, but her parents, her mom, just had a big birthday yesterday, and it was a surprise party, and there was a lot of their family in town from out of town. She didn't know because it was a surprise party. They had planned on coming over, but then when they realized there was so much family in town, they, you know, they can spend time with us whenever because we're always here, but her family's not. So we totally understood her wanting to spend time with the family in town, and mostly her mother and stuff like that, and brothers. So what ended up being was going to be a big brunch we were having today with a little Easter egg hunt for our grandson. Ended up just being a small little get together, and and visited with her family this afternoon. So here I am. I just said I'd come out here and mow, and not like really recreating my live from yesterday, but I'm just, you know, doing what I do, live stuff. And I'm just going to reiterate, you know, I don't do live mows and videos and things like that to you know, be some big YouTube channel guy or anything like that. I do it because I like doing video, and I like recording video. My other video yesterday turned out terrible too. I don't know what happened. I did a 7-camera mow recording that I wanted to work on a multi-camera edit. And like I said, I only do that as well, just because I enjoy doing video and editing and things like that. And I'm working on some different techniques, and I'm just trying to learn some different things. So maybe someday I'll be able to put out a really good video or something. But yeah, so I have never had this happen before, but my 360 camera, the video totally did not, I don't know, I thought it was recording because the light was flashing like it was recording, but maybe it didn't process because I turned it off or something. I don't know what happened, but my 360 video did not happen. I had another camera, I can't remember what it was. There was like 3 cameras, never had this happen, that just totally did not record. And because of that, I ended up with no video. Well, I ended up with some video, but I just didn't end up with the video I was expecting. All right, I'm not going to put the camera back there because it always craps out. And I have no idea how the stream's doing, so I hope everything's working out. I basically just go in and I start the video, start the stream, and then just let it run. Whatever happens, happens. So I would bring the camera back in this corner back here, but I just know for whatever reason I don't get any signal back here. Let me finish doing this little section here, and I'll tell you what's going on back there. So I'll put the camera here because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if it's coming in right now. Anyways, this spot back in here is all bare. I just reseeded it with shade grass and Kentucky bluegrass. The shade grass I put in here because in the wintertime we get no sun right here. And because there's no sun, the Kentucky bluegrass just dies out. And all in this whole area back here, because this house, my neighbor's house, shadows this whole area in the wintertime. The sun sits so low and it goes this way. And basically what happens is this whole area is just shaded 24/7 darkness, no sunlight on this side of the yard in the wintertime. And that's why I have all this moss on the sides and around here. But I will note, I have no moss in my grass. And that's because of the practices I do to maintain my soil properly, so that the moss won't grow there. So I'm standing in moss. It's all dead because I sprayed it with moss out. And I'm continually having to spray this with moss out just to keep it down. Every now and then I'll get a little bit of moss that grows out in the grass right in these areas right here. Just a very little, like right on the edges where it kind of just grows across. Like here's a little piece right here, and it's dead. But there's no moss in any of this grass right here. And this used to be my biggest problem before I started taking care of my yard really well, was the moss in all of my yard. And now that I'm controlling my pH, and I really feel, I'm a real believer in pH being the factor. That was my problem with my pH problems. Or with my moss problems, it was my pH. And I've been working really hard to control my pH. And I only use urea, nitrogen, and that doesn't roll away. Yeah, so I only use urea nitrogen because that has a tendency to raise the pH of your soil. I mean, ever so slightly and slowly. But that's the difference between using urea and ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate has a tendency to lower your pH. And because I always bait, and I probably had a pH. Looks like the drone's still going. It's going to land here in a second. But because I stopped using ammonium sulfate and I've been using urea only for about the last 3 years, I feel that's been my biggest factor in helping with the pH of my soil, therefore helping control the moss. I'm doing the same thing with my neighbor Wilson's yard last year when I did his renovation, because he had not only a grub problem, but he had a big moss problem. Well, I hope my drone lands okay. I guess we're gonna find out. And so Wilson's now, it's been actually 1 year since I did his renovation on his just gonna lower this drone here. I'll let you look at my stripes. Oops, wrong way. I'm not a very good drone operator. So that's how the Kentucky bluegrass turned out right there. My drone's in a safe enough position where it's not going to crash in, or it shouldn't, better not. Should land right where it took off from. So anyways, Wilson's yard, 1 year since I did his renovation. Moss is under control. There's no moss over there right now. And the grubs are under control. I do need to do an application of some more grub stuff. I normally use just the 24-hour grub killer. But this year, I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing the May and late August applications of grub. probably like a bio advanced or a did I not get my, oh, there it is. It's right in my hand. Spectricide. Those are my two favorite brands of fertilizers, pest control, weed killers. When I'm not using a name brand. So one of the things, so since I use urea, I'm going to jump back to urea real quick because I got really lucky. So Coastal Farm Supply is a local farm supply place. It's, you know, it's like Tractor Supply and Wilco out here. They're both the same, but Coastal is pretty close to me, and it's like on the way to my son's house, so it's easy to stop there after dropping our grandson off. Oh shoot, I loosened the wrong bolt. I sure did. Pay attention. So because I'm using a lot more urea right now because I'm taking care of 4 neighbors' yards and my own, and I just picked up a yard that I'm going to be doing a renovation on, where I'm going to be also maintaining it for them. They're an older couple. And they asked me to do their yard. It actually looks terrible. I actually just did a video of what it looks like right now. I just started it last weekend. Okay, so that is 8.5. So the best way to adjust this blade right here is to do them both at the same time and lower them both down to about the same. And it's just so they move evenly. I have a lot of problems with adjusting this bed knife lately, and a lot of it has to do with these brackets. I feel like these are kind of the better brackets I've had, but there's still some slop in them. And because there's slop, it makes it it just makes it more difficult to, oh my God, that's right at 2.1 millimeters. Let's see if we can get this on here. Oh, so close. Okay, so I hear the drone is landing. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get this camera down in here for you so you can see what I'm doing. It's really hard for me to do both these at the same time. Here, I'm gonna put this camera down for just a second so I can get this on here, and then I'm gonna pick it up. Okay, so you see there, it's so hard to get this camera in here. Just can't. Oh, it's really hard. Just need an extra set of hands. So yeah, it's just really hard to see what's going on there. How this is measuring in there. I just can't get it on. I just can't get it in there. If I turn it sideways, I don't know. Anyways, let me put this away. Maybe I can show you with this. Okay, so this is the bed knife right here. Okay, and it's hard to turn the reel right now because the wheel's on the ground, but so if you can see, the reel is hitting the bed knife right here. So on the top of this bed knife is where it's cutting. So this, from this back tire to this front roller, the reason why that bar rests on it is because that rests on it like this, and then that little measuring device, it hooks onto the top of this bed knife, and the underside of where it hooks, that point to the top of the bar that's going across like this, that's measuring the distance between the ground and the bed knife. And that's how it's measuring your cut. Okay, so that's how a reel mower works, and that's how it adjusts, and that's how it works. This one here, just because it's a really simple design and setup, it. Let me get a drink here. It's not as precise, and it's a lot more touchy because there's a lot more room for things to get out of whack. Like what I was just doing there was showing you it may have knocked things out of adjustment here. So let me just see if I can. All right, it's 2.07. Let me get back to my urea here in just a second. What I was talking about. Stupid bed knife. It really aggravates me. Now I'm in a lot of trouble because now I'm off. All right. 2.06, 2.13, close enough for me. And my hack putting green. Okay, so tightening the cross member, that's going to hold everything in place. Kind of lock it in. And then I'm going to tighten these stop nuts. And then I'm going to tighten these 4 adjustment sliders. So I was looking to get more urea because you know what? At this time of year, whatever fertilizer you need to get, you need to find it and you need to get it. Whatever you're going to use, I don't care. Just please, for the love of God, whatever you do, don't buy these YouTuber products that they're selling you for $70 a 1 gallon bottle. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. That was one of the things I was going to talk about in my live today. If you're buying a fertilizer product that costs you $70 for 1 gallon or $50 for 1 gallon, probably the biggest waste of money you could do. And the biggest problem with it is these guys, they have these great looking lawns and all that kind of stuff. And they tell you that because they use these products, their lawn looks like this, and you use these products, your lawn's gonna look this great too. And it's just common fallacy. Not true. These guys have no idea what's making their lawn green. One guy, I was watching his video, and he's probably one of the worst lawn care YouTubers out there, saying how he knows it's the added phosphorus that's making his yard green. And that's the most ridiculous statement you could make ever. I mean, I know a lot of people don't understand NP and K and how it works and all that kind of stuff, but you know what? Phosphorus has nothing to do with greening up your grass. And he insists that by putting this 13 down product of his, that it is making his grass greener. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Because phosphorus has nothing to do with the color of your grass. Absolutely zero. So anyways, that's why I don't listen to these lawn care YouTube guys anymore. They're just talking out there, you know what. Let me change this battery one more time, get the putting green going. And finish this mow.
Please connect the drone.
I did mow the backyard today, and maybe after I'm done doing this, because I'll go inside and I'll set my program to, oops. I'll set my program to do just full screen drone action, and I'll show some of these neighbors' yards that we're looking at and we've been taking care of, and some of the projects we've done around here, so you can kind of see what's going on.
Connected.
Okay, drone is coming back to life. Wait for it to connect here. So that's one of the things I'm going to talk about in one of my lives. You know, if you tune into one of my lives that I do on Sunday, I have one already set up to do and talk about a lot of these things, because right now there's so much BS flowing in the YouTube lawn care world of all this stuff. The one thing I will say that I'm really starting to respect more is that there are more lawn care YouTube guys that are
Home point
starting
refreshed.
to change their ways. They're starting to listen to the science and see the science behind, you know, growing grass. I think I'm gonna turn this thing around. Gotta get the angle from this direction. Try not to hit my tree. Okay, so the reason why I have sand on my putting green is because I just reseeded all the bad areas. If you've seen my channel before, and my putting green, I have some spots in my putting green from a reseed I did last season in October that just totally went bad. And because it went bad, I just had some bare spots that just never came in. A lot of it had to do with the tenacity I was using to spray the lawn. To kill the bent grass, because I basically was kind of trying to reshape I need to check my fuel tank. I basically was, oops, let me start this real quick. So I had reshaped my green. I rounded the edges, and I know it's probably hard to see, but like right in here, this edge is rounded right here, and it used to be square, because when I put this thing in, I just made it square. And I made it square because, yeah, this flag is, this hole is so loose. I'm gonna move that after I do this later today. It looks terrible. And so when I did that, I used tenacity, because tenacity kills bent grass. And so sand is really hard to mow right now. It's so small. And so because tenacity kills bent grass, that's what I use to kill the bent grass, the square edges. And then I planted Kentucky bluegrass there. But because I had used tenacity, and basically, what was it, about, it was like 2 weeks after I had done that, I did the work on my putting green, and that's what caused my grass seed not to germinate. I'm trying not to step in the sand because there's seed in that, and I don't want the seed to get dragged, cross-contaminated on my Kentucky bluegrass. Because basically bent grass looks just like POA in your Kentucky bluegrass. So because of that, and sometimes I have a hard time figuring out whether I have bent grass in my Kentucky bluegrass or if it's POA. The only way I know if it's POA is when I see the seed heads. And because I cut so short, I don't always get seed heads. So, it's really difficult to mow. But I am really surprised. I don't know, I think I missed a spot there. I am definitely cutting some blades here, so the putting green is definitely growing. You know, and we know that the putting green is growing because the soil temps are above 50 degrees. At 50 degrees, that is, you know, that is the time that the microbes really start getting active. Between 40 and 50 degrees is when they start, you know, moving around and start getting some grass growth. Yeah, it's really killing my green to turn around on it. It's gonna kill me. Probably gonna take 3 weeks to get this bent grass to grow in, so I can start mowing the whole thing. I mean, I hope so. I hope the weather is supposed to stay nice. And I'm really just trying to maintain the mow on this so it doesn't get out of control. I just started mowing legitimately at 2 millimeters in October, basically the time that I redid my putting green here. And what had happened was that was when I got that measuring tool. Because the way I used to measure it was the way McLean told me to measure it, and it was wrong. I thought I was mowing. Oh man, just did a skid mark in my putting green. And that's, you know, part of my other frustration is, you know, McLean hasn't been the best support for somebody who knows nothing about putting greens, you know, cutting at 2 millimeters. I knew nothing about, you know, greens master, or I'm sorry, not a greens master, but a greens mower. I knew nothing about any of this stuff when I started my putting green, and I've been learning ever since, and that's part of the reason why I started this channel. 2 reasons. A, don't believe what people tell you on YouTube. A putting green is really easy to grow, really nice. The only extra work you have to do is you have to mow more because it grows, and because you're cutting at 2 millimeters. You know, when it grows a 1/2 millimeter, that's a lot. Really tearing up my putting green. Sorry, just the turning on my putting green is really. Well, I don't normally turn on my putting green. And marks will come out, but they still suck. So I never finished my urea story. My urea thing is about, I was planning on getting urea because I take care of so many people's yards, and I'm using a lot more urea than I normally do. You know, with my 3,000 square foot, 3,800 square feet of yard I have, a 50-pound bag of urea lasts me well over a year. And the ferrous sulfate heptahydrate that I use, it lasts me it lasts me 2 years. It lasts me I bought a bag and well, I was given a bag by a golf course superintendent a few years ago, and that was my first exposure to this particular brand of iron. And oh my God, it was the greatest stuff. So now I buy, you know, ferrous sulfate heptahydrate at Site 1, and I get a 50-pound bag, and it's like $35. And then getting back to urea is like $32 for a 50-pound bag at Coastal Farm Supply Store. So I saw they had some in stock, and because they had some in stock, I was gonna go pick up a bag. So I went there yesterday, so I looked up real quick because they only had 13 bags, and I know that's a hot commodity when, you know, it's grow season and all that kind of stuff, or, you know, lawn season comes back into play. So so that's the putting green. Let me get this up over here on the hole. That might give you a better idea of what we're looking at here. So I don't know, it pretty much looks like when you're watching golf on TV and the pros are playing. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that unless you have a professional greenskeeper mower, which I don't have. Mine's kind of, like I said. So anyways, I checked yesterday. They had 11 bags left. Price had dropped to $29. And I was like, oh my God, we are going today. And we had that party we went to last night, and I was like, we got to get out of here in time so I can go get this bag of fertilizer. And I got over there, they had 8 left, and 3 of them were ripped. So I managed to get a good bag of urea over there for $29. Now, I don't know the total square feet of all the yards I'm taking care of. This is Doug's yard over here. This is one of the ones I had redone. I'm gonna go reset the page for the drone. I don't know how much battery I have left. Oh, 53. I got plenty of battery. I could just do a quick flyover. Just 1 sec. Okay, so I can't really make any adjustments on the drone camera to make the picture better. It kind of is what it is. All right, so I'm going to show you my terrible drone skills here. I'm just going to take a seat in the garage. Okay, so this is Doug's yard over here, and we just got to do a little bit more fixing on some spots. So in the top left corner, by the bush hedge in the top left, he's got a real drainage problem there, and water just builds up over there. We tried to level that as best we could, but it settled a little bit last year, and then we got so much rain this winter it just kind of settled in. So there is some, let's see if I can drop down on it a little bit here, show you what I'm talking about. So see that section right there. So we're just doing a little reseeding on that right now. Just gonna try to get my camera dropped down at a full. Okay, I gotta hurry up and do this because we're down to 39% here. It's so windy. So that's Doug's yard. And the top right over there, it's a hill and a shaded area. The Kentucky bluegrass just isn't gonna do good over there. So I'm gonna plant some shade grass over there, some creeping red fescue. That's just kind of my shade mix that I use. So we're gonna fly over the tree here, hopefully. And we're going to take a look at Wilson's yard. So this is the, let's see here, let me turn around. And so this is Wilson's yard that I had redone, this little section right here. This is perennial ryegrass. It's looking really sweet right now. So that's what I did last year. Last year I have a video on this one where I did the redo. This has had the grub problem and the the moss problem. And then over here, oh, looks like they're out playing in their yard. Sorry, Wilson. I'll just do this real quick. So then I started taking care of his front yard here. This is a really big section of lawn. And it wasn't doing that great. He had some moss damage and stuff like that over there too. So I started taking care of this part of his yard. And we talked about doing some reseeding and things. Got some moss and some things in there, but it's pretty much, it's just a mix of grasses, probably mostly fescue. And then we're gonna back up over here to Kathy's house. And then this is Kathy's yard we did down in the bottom. So this is Kathy's yard. So Kathy's we did a little late last year and it didn't quite develop fully. We're gonna do a little overseed next weekend on it. Told her what stuff she needs to get and we'll do an overseed on it and get it looking good. Just make sure I can get up over the tree here. Sure, that was a little scary. Lost my signal there for a second. That's never good. So then my backyard back here is looking pretty good. Too bad the sun is. Let's see if so we can see this way. Nice shot of Mount Rainier. There we go. It's a little Mount Rainier action over there. And then we got sound over here. I'm looking north to Seattle this way. This is Seattle way in the distance over there, and my battery's about to die, so I better get this sucker on the ground. So there's my mows looking like there. Looking pretty sweet. Hold on, I'm going to turn this camera around. I think I'm actually going to land it over here on the putting green. It's not quite on the putting green, but close enough. All right, so that's that. I better put this in the garage. All right, I'm gonna go change my camera view real quick, and we'll just kind of wrap this thing up. My mow for Sunday, Saturday. Okay, so that's kind of all I had going for today. I didn't really have much else. I wish that whole action on the this is a short tripod here. I wish that whole action on the hole change would have done a little bit better. So I know you can't see my bare spots over here. They were in the, oh, I can grab the camera and show you these bare spots. This is what we're monitoring for the next couple of weeks here. Since it's Kentucky bluegrass, it's going to take a little while to grow. Spots like that. And there. This is kind of a big one right here. But you can see how this whole spot was basically burned out. And you can see the grass is filling back in and growing in these little spots here. And I got some new grass coming up because I did put some seed down back in January, but I didn't expect that to take. And then right here again, you got the little sprouts coming up of the established grass. But then I also have seed down in there now. And this is basically the area where I have a real problem with the shade because of this tree right here. This bush right here in the wintertime causes this whole area right here to be shaded. And because it gets shaded out, the grass doesn't grow. The Kentucky bluegrass dies off every winter. And it's just starting to come back in and fill in. It filled in really nice last year. but I put some seed down, and I put some shade mix seed down in here as well. And just kind of this whole section right here, all of this. And then here's another spot I'm going to be working on getting it to grow back in. This is going to probably be a month. This is Kentucky bluegrass, so it takes a long time to germinate, and hopefully with the temperatures stay within reason so that we can get this grass to germinate. So another patch there, just some area. This was really, I'm going to do a comparison video because I have drone video from a couple months ago when this looked really bad. You could really see the spots. Now you could just see it's starting to fill in just because we got some growth coming in. Look at this right here. I don't like the looks of that. It looks like some Poa trivialis. This is how I deal with Poa. And it could be bent grass. And usually how I can tell is how easy it pulls out. And we have so much Poa in this area, it's not even funny. So try to pull the long edges into the middle so I can find the main root area. That's really in there. That could be just some bent grass. But Poa trivialis is really tough to get out too. It's not like annua where it just pops right out. Yeah, it's not going to come out. Biggest thing is the seed heads. I should probably come in here with my weed puller. I should mark the spot. There's some more. So I just sprayed with tenacity because I have some more light colored spots like this right here. And I get a lot of bent grass in my my Kentucky bluegrass because my mowing just gets transferred and carried. This is another spot right here. And the biggest thing I look out for is seed heads, but like I said, because I mow so short and so often, it's hard for the seed heads to get a chance to pop up. And I don't use any pre-emergent. And I really don't use any weed killer. Like I said, I'm going to use some, I've used some tenacity, but I used the tenacity to kill my patch grass right here. I should have mowed it. Oh, my camera's probably going to cut out. I should have mowed it, but I didn't. I don't know how well this is going to work coming over here. I'll try it though. This is Wilson's. This is the project lawn that I did. Killing the moss and the grub problem he had over here. It's all shaded out right now, so it's hard to see. You can see down there where the sun's shining, it's looking pretty good, but I don't want to bother Wilson. Him and his family are out right now. So all right, so anyways, that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and just end the stream. Put this right back over here. And that's my Sunday mow with audio. You could check out my, my other videos I do, my live streams. I try to provide as, accurate and really good information for everybody on the real easy ways to maintain your yard. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do I really hate to do it, but I'm probably going to do a weekly spoon feed, probably for the next 2 months. I think I'm going to add some nitrogen and iron today, and water it in tonight because we're supposed to have some good weather for the next week. And I'm going to do that probably for the next 2 months, probably through April and May. And show you the results. I'm not really much of a person that's trying to get a lawn that's super dark green and all that kind of stuff. I like really just my lawn to look, nice and filled in and, healthy. I know everybody out there is gunning for the greenest lawn. And if you want a green lawn, it's really easy to achieve. And that's kind of what I'm going to show in the next 2 months with doing a weekly spoon feed. And I'm talking when you do a weekly spoon feed, it's just minimal stuff. I'm going to put nitrogen and iron down on it once a week, probably at a rate of about I don't know, I might do a fifth of a pound, something like that. It's probably going to be a fifth of a pound because half of 46 is 23, so that'd be about a fifth of a pound if I put a half pound per 1,000 of urea down. That should be about a fifth of a pound, I believe it is, if I'm doing the math correctly in my head. If all else fails, I'll do the math on a calculator and verify it, but it should be about a half a pound per 1,000 square feet of urea, and that would give me about a fifth of a pound of nitrogen. And I'm going to do that because my soil temps are above 60 right now. When I woke up this morning, I checked it and it was at like 58 degrees, and right now it was over 70. So the soil temp in my yard with my thermometer is looking really good. So that means the microbes are really active and really doing their thing. So they're going to be pushing the nitrogen, processing it, and getting it through the roots. And the plant's going to start taking it up. The microbes and the plant's going to work together for the next 4 months, I hope, 5 months, and then I'll start showing the progress on my Bermuda grass. My Bermuda grass in my backyard. I looked at some of it today. It's starting to come alive. It's hard for me to do the live back there because when I walk from the front to the back, I usually lose my connection. So I'm not going to even try it today. But I did see a little spot where it gets the most sun starting to turn green. I got really excited because it's April. So hopefully by next month, I've got maybe a quarter of it green. Growing Bermuda grass in Western Washington, if you got the right spot for it and you get some good temperatures, it's going to happen, but probably for maybe 4 months out of the year. Last year it went dormant in late September, and it's been dormant since pretty much October. It's April now, and it looks like it's just starting to come back and get some green action growing in on it. So I'll do a progress report on it. I'm trying to keep track of it, video-wise, time-lapse wise of its progress, and I'll be posting videos on my lives on those as well. So if anything you've heard has maybe interest you, it's not a bad decision to follow my channel, get some information. You might learn something that you didn't know, and maybe you might find something that you're doing right now is actually not needed. I try to follow the science. I do the research. I'm actually taking courses on soil science right now in turf grass, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can about just the reality of growing turf grass. And I'm not listening to YouTube guys anymore that don't know what they're talking about. I got tired of that 3-4 years ago, and that's when I started this project here on my lawn, and I've been doing it pretty much ever since. Nitrogen and iron only is all I use. I use a little bit of tenacity for weed control, and occasionally I might put down some post-emergent weed spray, but pretty much I really don't get weeds. I don't do any kind of preventative for disease because I don't have disease problems, and a lot of it has to do with the way I take care of my lawn. And because I am an 8mm low mow on my Kentucky bluegrass and 2mm on my putting green, I am highly, highly susceptible to all of the above: disease, weeds, and problems with, grass growing, your turf grass, very difficult conditions to grow grass in low mow. So I'm just showing low mowing. If you follow these principles on a regular rotary mower, mowing at 2 inches, 3 inches, you're gonna have a great lawn. And you're not gonna be buying $70 bottles of fertilizer and spraying it down, at massive amounts. I calculated what this guy was talking about yesterday on this video I was watching, and he's basically putting down $40 worth of product once a week on his yard, or he's telling you to put $40 worth of product down on your yard. $40 of nutrients that I put in my yard would last me for an entire season. And that's just kind of all I walk people through. I don't promise that you follow my measures, you're gonna have a great grass like me. Everybody's areas are different and conditions are different. Disease problems can be different. Humidity and those sorts of things come into play. How you water, all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to talk about a lot of that stuff, and I'm going to try to, just kind of guide you in the right direction of things you can probably do that's probably going to make your lawn look a lot better. And just because you see somebody else telling you they're using these products and they say this is what it does to their lawn, doesn't mean that that product is doing it to their lawn. It could be only one thing in that product that's making that lawn look good. And in a lot of cases, that's all it is, one or two things. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.